Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us as we evolve together. In this series, we are showcasing business leaders and their approach to workforce innovation. And I am super excited to have my wonderful friend from the South join us today. Do you mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your company?
Yeah, sure, Kim. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Marissa Limshako. I am a co-founder and president of a company called Otso. So we are a fintech solution leveraged in commercial real estate leases. We are essentially an alternative to traditional lease securitizations such as cash deposits, letters of credit, or personal guarantees that are typically leveraged in leases. And the value we really bring is capital efficiency and capital protection to both landlords and tenants in the transaction.
And how, from the landlord perspective, like, can you explain that workflow, that process, like how you actually help the landlord?
Yes, so we provide several value propositions to the landlord. One being asset protection. So they are able to, our typical customer asks for an average of 300% more than they typically would get in securitization, leveraging us. And they're also able to extract more rent out of the deal. And so there's some profit there as well. And third, landlords love that we essentially underwrite the tenants for them. So we provide financial reports on the tenants that, institutional landlords have tools for that, but the majority of local regional landlords don't. And so that's very popular as well for landlords.
And when did you guys, kick this off? How long have you been
It's
around?
been, gosh, I mean, in starting a company, as you know, it feels like a month is like a year, and it just flies. But we came up with Otso. We established in 2019, so it's been a couple years now.
That's fantastic. And how did the pandemic affect you?
Gosh, so we were one of the, we're grateful to be one of the companies that we are actually more valuable with COVID. So although in the first couple months, because as you know, the lease activity overall just halted for a few months, when it picked up, that pause actually gave us opportunity to do two things internally. Is number one, really figure out how to make our tenant application, like the product itself, like more efficient and faster. And number two, from a business model standpoint, it forced us, because as you know, everyone's kind of worried about capital efficiency. And our customers, it's very important to them that they know that we are backed by a solid solution. And so it forced us to think outside the box, because it's very important for us, our customers, to trust our foundation and our model. So with that, we were able to revamp our reserve components, bring on additional partners, bring on additional lines of credit to provide a very strong front, much stronger front than what we presented before when we started the company. And so that obviously, made our customers feel really good. But if COVID wouldn't have happened, we probably wouldn't have done that so early on.
Oh, that makes sense. And what about any pivots? Have you made any major changes in the last year that maybe were driven? I mean, it sounds like you've modified things and had time to finesse and make things better. Have you made any other major changes because of the circumstances?
Yes. So we think I love being an entrepreneur because you have these assumptions, and when you bring it to the market, other things pop up that you never would have expected would happen when you expected they would happen. And so we really started out our go-to-market with focusing on like the smaller deals, so $100,000 or less. But what really happened, and we had product market fit and everything. I mean, it was proven that landlords see us as valuable, tenants especially see us as valuable. What we didn't anticipate were tenant reps with enterprise deals to really, especially with COVID, really push for us, and big enterprise tenants. So we're talking above $100,000, the multi-million dollar, type securitization deals. We didn't anticipate that to happen or come to the table so early on. But luckily, like as I mentioned before, we had come up with ways to cover those types of deals and have a solution for them. But we just didn't anticipate, the volume of those type of deals to come through this early on.
That's awesome.
It wasn't exactly a pivot, much more so an enhancement or expansion to what we're already offering.
And that makes sense. And are you doing this all throughout the United States and just a couple markets? Like where can you be and what kind of reach do you have?
We are all over the country. Yes. And
Okay.
we cover every asset class. And,
Okay.
as mentioned, now we cover all amounts of securitization. And so all asset classes, we have retail, office, industrial, all over the
Perfect.
country.
That's fantastic. And what does going back to work look like for you? I don't know what your circumstances necessarily were. When you look back, there's companies that kind of were super flexible. They work from home or work from whatever before the pandemic. And then you have companies that this has been a drastic impact on everything they know and do, where they've been forced into using the cloud and things like that. How did, what does the future look like for you?
You know what? It didn't change it didn't impact us in a way. We were already remote. We did give up our office at the time, just like everybody else in the world. We were just to remain more lean. We do plan to pick up an office presence, but for us internally, we really looked at ourselves and we're just like did a lot of things to just think more lean and just again internally, just like the value prop that we bring to our customers, capital efficient. And so although there isn't much as far as like our team and like really growing our team too much in the next couple of years, I'd say that we did pause like some of these other companies in thinking through like our footprint, because we operated so well, even better than we thought, remotely all over the country. So that there wasn't much change, but it did have us, rethink, just like some of these other companies are.
Oh, for sure. Now, a lot of business leaders and CEOs, presidents, and founders are trying to figure out what to do next. A lot of them are in a bad position. A lot of them aren't sure, what the future holds, and maybe this has been a large disruption to their business. Do you have any advice for other business leaders as they try to figure things out?
Yes, always look through for the opportunities, and plan for. I think so. My background, I went to West Point and I was in the military, and it felt a lot, and it still kind of does sometimes with COVID, like a deployment. And when a trauma or crisis happens, and everyone's just like, what do I do next? And a lot of business owners just were turned upside down with their business models. And in some cases, we did have another vertical that we had to let go and change internally during this. But like I mentioned before, stay innovative. That's why we're business owners, and look for those opportunities in these times, because you never know what you're going to get. And in some cases, just like us, it's, the solution that you come up with is going to be an even stronger, better one than you had before.
Oh, absolutely. Well, our goal is really with Evolve is to help leaders to learn, grow, and connect with each other and others. And I can't thank you enough for spending the afternoon and talking to me and talking to us and sharing your thoughts on what's next. Thank you so
Thanks so much
much.
for having me, Kim.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing you and talking to you again soon.
Yeah, great. Thank you.